Okay, guys. Well, welcome to our hot topic call. We have an awesome call today. Nutrition is always a super popular topic. One of the most questions I always get is about nutrition, how to how to fit in the right nutrients during the day, especially protein, which we're going to kind of lean into today. Jay is a registered dietitian. I met her through Dr. Yumi, who many of you know. She did our hot topic call on human hormone replacement therapy, and she's a big proponent of this program. And Jay is actually in the program herself too, so she's doing our BFR program in the community. So I'm super excited to have her today. That's right, whoop, whoop, to talk. So Jay, I'll let you take it away, and I'll stop talking.
Yes, you drink your tea, Ashley. Hi, everyone. So nice to meet you all. And yeah, happy to be here with you guys live. I take all the recorded videos and I hear Ashley talk to you guys sometimes, and I'm like, hi, hi. So it's nice to be with the crew. Um, so I have been a registered dietitian for 20 years. Kind of amazing that that's a true statement, but it is. And the field of nutrition has changed drastically in the last 20 years. And so let's talk about some of that and like the fads and the trends and where we are now and what the science is saying, as well as what's best for you. Quick background, my degree was in nutrition and physiology from Columbia, because I feel like nutrition can't be talked about without exercise, and exercise can't be talked about without nutrition. So I've always really brought those two together. And in a fluke that I didn't know, the program at Columbia has a major emphasis on sustainable agriculture. So very early on in my career, I learned about where our food comes from and the importance of soil and the importance of the quality of what you eat in addition to the nutrients of what you're eating. So we'll get into that today as well. And then fast forward, I worked, some of you may be familiar with the Bay Club. I worked as like a trainer and a dietitian in private practice in the Bay Club for about 10 years in San Francisco. And then I almost quit the field because I was so frustrated with nutrition. And I almost went for my PhD to just understand like this crazy field more. But it led me to Stanford actually, and working with Christopher Gardner on the Diet Fit study. Some of you might know Christopher Gardner because he was just in a recent Netflix documentary, which of course I'm blanking on the name of right now. But we did a study comparing low carb and low fat diets and what's right and what's wrong and what's the best. And the truth is, as the study was called, one diet does not fit all. So there is no quick fix, which will be that will be the spoiler of today. And I got into health tech. And so I've been working for a handful of different companies that are doing some version of personalized and concierge nutrition, right? So looking at your genetics maybe and your blood markers and what are your goals and what are your aura data say and what does your heart rate data say and all those different things and how to put that together into a story. So that's kind of the world I'm in now. But I do that in Silicon Valley, and I live in rural Texas on a cattle ranch. So I have these two different worlds. So to go back to the theme of really wanting to know where my food comes from, I take it very seriously. So we can get into that. And we will talk about that when we're talking about protein. So I'm a very skilled dietitian, and I think I will bring a lot of knowledge to you today. But when it comes to building PowerPoints, I am like adamantly opposed to them. So I have a few slides for you just for a visual, just because I know most people are more visual learners than auditory. So just to like show you some words as we talk, but literally it is like white with black, like no colors, no formatting, because I really dislike PowerPoint. Okay, let me see. I'm going to do this in the simplest of way. So if I do that, I'm going to want to open up to my other tabs for a bit, but why don't I show you this slide? Oh, there we go. Can you see that in the pretty form? Okay, great. Okay, so I had asked, Ashley's been sent you like, please ask questions. And one of you, I don't know who it was, I don't know if it's someone on the screen, wrote this, and it just like, oh God, it just sums the whole story up. So one of you wrote, If you are trying to do a 14-hour fast and work out first thing in the morning, what's best for your body? When I work out first thing in the morning, then I won't be in the clear to eat, i.e., hit my 14-hour goal within an hour of working out. The reality is, as much as I'd like to eat earlier in the evening and change my window, it's probably not going to happen. So is it better to honor the fasting, or is it better to not fast and eat protein within an hour of working out? No, it never bothers me to eat before working out. In fact, that's very normal for me. So, uh, this question kind of like sums up millions of women, people really all over the place. So I just loved it. One of you might have said it. Please don't even share if it was you. But what this asks, right? You're talking about fasting, you're talking about, nutrition for exercise, you're talking about protein, and then you're also talking about two things that are very important. One is schedule, right? The person notes like, as much as I'd like to eat earlier in the evening is probably not going to happen. Maybe that's due to family or work or so many other players that come into involvement in our schedule. And then also the person is aware of what feels good for them, right? Like it doesn't bother me to eat before working out. So the person is aware of like what's working for me. So I like people to ask themselves a handful of questions, and they're very important, and it will come back over and over again when we talk today. So what are your specific goals? So some of you may be in this program to just get your body moving every day. Some of you may be in this program because you only have 30 minutes to work out, and this program is perfect for 30 minutes. Some of you might be super serious about building strength. Some of you might be super serious about losing fat. Some of you might be super serious about getting out of pain. There's all different reasons why we work out and why we're doing this program or our goals. What are the things that you're doing? Not the other women in the group, not every other perimenopausal and menopausal woman in America right now who's on Instagram, not your mom, not your friends. Like, what do you want? It's really an important question that you have to keep asking yourself. Another really big question is, what is working and what isn't, right? Because many of us, fasting is a great one, where so many people come to me about fasting. The first question I ask them is it working for you? And the first thing most women say back to me is, not really. It's actually not working. So when you're thinking about protein, we're going to talk today about protein and fiber and fasting. Those will be the main things we're going to talk about. But ask yourself, like, what actually is working for me and what's not? Like the woman before noted that she doesn't need food in the morning. Oh, she doesn't need, it doesn't bother her to not eat before working out. In fact, that's very normal. Now, is it working for her? Is she achieving her goals in the workouts would be the next question. Third point is, do you even know actually what you're eating in one day? Many of us think we know what we eat, but it's a very powerful tool, especially because I'm going to get into some of the grams of fiber and grams of protein with you. And I'm only doing that because Ashley and many of you keep asking for it. I normally don't really speak in grams, but there seems to be an ask for the quantitative of the numbers, which I'm going to give you. But then you can't just go into it a little bit. You've got to know what's your full day. So we'll go through this at the end, but I would strongly encourage you, if you don't, to just do a 1-day food log, a 2-day food log in an app, so that you can actually get a grasp of what do you do in a day if you're going to speak the numbers game. Oh, wait. And then that last question of, who are you getting your advice from? It is crazy out there in the field of nutrition. I said this to Ashley earlier. So like, I want to be called a registered dietitian because there's no legal bearing to the word nutritionist. Any of you could legally call yourself a nutritionist today. So it is just wackadoodle. Doctors are trying to be nutritionists. Yoga teachers are trying to be nutritionists. People there's like a whole movement right now of people who are using the weight loss medications and having great success with them, but now they're calling themselves a nutritionist. Again, it's the Wild West in the field of nutrition. So I would really make sure that you're getting information from people, even if they're not a dietitian, but that you really make sure they know what they're talking about, because there is a lot of misinformation, which makes this field so confusing. All right, protein. How much should I eat and where should I get it from? So there's been a huge sensation these days. Has anyone heard the trend of eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight? Okay, so that's a big one right now, of eating 1 gram of protein. So let's just kind of realize what that is. Take your weight in pounds. And then, so say you weigh 150 pounds, that would be 150 grams of protein. A 4-ounce chicken breast, which is the size of most women's kind of palm, is about 30 grams of protein. So that would be the equivalent of 5 chicken breasts in a day. 1 egg is 7 grams of protein. So to get 30 grams of protein in a meal, you'd have to eat about 4 eggs. So then you're eating about 4 times 5, you're eating about 20 eggs a day. And the recommendation is to eat that much to support muscle mass building and to hope for lose weight. I went deep into this because many people have been asking about it, and there is no data to support that. The data does support that you could go on the high end range of 1.4 to 1.6 grams per kilo. I should have done that in pounds. So that is about 0.5 to 0.7 grams per pound. Let me just do the quick math on that. I speak in kilos sometimes and I forget. 1.4 divided by 2. Yeah, 0.6 to 0.7 grams per pound. So you can take your weight, say we're back at the 150-pound person, and I'm just going to do in the middle and do about like 0.68. That would be about 100 grams per pound. So 100 grams per pound would be about 3 chicken breasts a day, or having 35 grams of protein at 3 meals a day, which is more reasonable of a thing, maybe higher than some of you are currently doing, but not quite so crazy as 5 chicken breasts a day. So then the question layers in of like, can I eat amino acids? Is vegan better than animal protein? Is shake better than food? This is all very tricky and very personalized. And I would strongly encourage you to really ask yourself, like, what's working for you, as well as what's kind of ultimately your goal. I mean, at a high level, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So if you are not getting a complete protein, then you aren't getting every amino acid that you need. And you need every amino acid to do all the things that amino acids and hormones do, and protein do in our body, one of those being hormones. So you need every amino acid to build all the blocks, to do all the magical things that protein does in your system. So if you are a vegan, then you aren't likely getting all of the essential amino acids, since those essential amino acids come in the form, some of those come in the form of animal. So that's why one is concerned when they are a vegan if they're missing some of those amino acids. And that's where a protein supplement like a powder can really come in handy, because those can have all the essentials. I'm going to show you some products at the end of this chat, but there's a mix of making sure that you're getting enough protein overall, so finding your grams that you need in a day and making sure that you're getting those. Most people need a powder to get the numbers that they need. It's just can be hard to get enough protein through food and not cause you to gain weight. While if you drink a shake, you can calorically keep the numbers down, but keep the protein up. Have any of you guys had that experience? It's kind of one of the best ways to make the math work. Then there's the level of quality, right? We go back to that quality conversation, which, as you guys know, I think is very important. And so I want to encourage you guys to eat things that aren't too gross, quite frankly, right? And make sure that you're using ingredients that are whole and real, choosing products where you actually understand everything that's in there. And then if there is a sweetener in there, making sure that it's a good quality sweetener and not something that is potentially causing you digestive issues or maybe more artificial than you'd like. And I'm going to share a few products. I'm not affiliated or ambassador or anything with any of them, but just kind of what I think about when I look at products. Okay. So then protein's getting all this press, right? Which is awesome. For years, paleo and keto have gotten all this press. But the one thing that never gets press and should, and is actually the most important, is fiber. This is like the least sexy food and so confusing for women or people, but fiber is holy grail. If you are not getting enough fiber, you are likely not going to achieve whatever goal you're trying to achieve. All roads go back to fiber. So gut health, if you're interested in your microbiome, not just digestion, but if you're interested in all the conversations around microbiome, and have any of you heard the word prebiotic, not just probiotics, but prebiotic? And oh, you got to have prebiotics. Fiber is prebiotics. That's what it is. They call it prebiotics now to make it sound cool, but it's just fiber. Like every person needs fiber. It's essential for your heart. It's essential for blood sugar. It's essential for hormone balance. It's essential for weight loss. It is key for portion control. It's everything. And the recommendation at a minimum is 25 grams per day, which is hard to do. If you have a heart health condition, if you have cardiovascular risk in your family, some super proactive doctors and dietitians will put people on 40 grams a day. That's a part-time job. So the protein and the fiber to get those numbers where you would want them to be is really hard and takes work. And if you're trying to be low carb for weight, and I'm telling you to eat fiber, fiber comes from all plants. So you have to eat carbohydrates to get to a certain amount of fiber. And it's likely not going to come from just vegetables. So if you eat vegetables, but you don't eat the starches like beans or grains or starchy vegetables, you're likely not going to get enough fiber. Now, again, powders can help. So I'll share a couple products for you. There is some fiber powders that can help get you like 5 to 7 grams per day in a fiber powder. But still, you want to eat that whole real food because it's going to help all these things on the top, the gut health, the heart health, the blood sugar. Okay, fasting. Is it actually working for you? And why are you doing it? So here's the thing about fasting is fasting is a stressor to your body. So because you're not eating, right? So the key is that women don't realize is the majority of women in this country, maybe worldwide, but in this country, are already pretty stressed, given the immense amount of physical and emotional workload that we have to do on a daily basis. So when you put a stressed person, but I'm just going to say woman for now, but if you put a stressed woman and you make them fast, you're just adding stress on top of stress. And when you add stress on top of stress, it's going to give you exactly what you don't want to achieve. And I say you're starving in the desert. When you become starving in the desert, right, your body just completely shuts down and goes into survival mode. You hold on to fat, particularly in your abdomen, which is like the worst place you want. And the reason why you're holding on to fat in your abdomen is because if a lion came and bit you, it would protect you from your organs. So totally not in support of 2024 realities, but that's how your body works, right? Your hunger is shut off when you're starving in the desert because the last thing you want to think about is how hungry you are. However, when you do go to eat, the body's like, oh, we're finally eating. And then you overeat, and then you store more as fat, which happens a lot when people fast. And then there is just the all around hangriness, right? Like many women who are fasting aren't feeling very energized. Now, some of you might be feeling great. on whatever rhythm you've found. But I just want to note that many people don't, and that's not abnormal. That's actually very common. One of the best fasting research comes from a man named Sachin Panda, and his research was based on a 12-hour window. So a lot of these more extreme, shorter eating windows aren't actually based on the landmark science. The landmark science was based off a 12-hour window. And side note, it was a 12-hour window because the researcher, the fellow in this lab who was like literally feeding the mice, controlling like when they feed, she had a baby at home and she had to be home by like 9 p.m. So she could only do a 12-hour window for the fast for her work life. So just talk about women and work-life boundaries. And they thrived on it. These mice thrived on a 12-hour fasting. So what I usually suggest for all people is that we all do a 12-hour fast. Start there, and then you have a 12-hour eating window. So you're still eating 3 squares in a 12-hour period. And then start to see what's working, what's not, and maybe you shorten the window, but maybe you don't. There's a lot of press about the benefits of fasting for women, and I'm not opposed to that press or science, but I think you have to be in a non-stress state. Because if you go into a fasting protocol in too stressed of a state, you're just going to, you're not going to achieve the results you want. Okay, so let me do this and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can still, can you see like my whole window? If I go to here, like if I go to here, can you see that? Like a products page? Okay, so I'm just going to go through a handful of different products that I like and just tell you about them, and I'll share these links with you later. So this is a brand called NorCal. Again, not affiliated, no marketing, no one gives me money. These are just things I found along the way or clients of mine have used. This is a favorite brand of mine because it's organic and it's clean. So when I look for products, I look to make sure that there's only one ingredient in them. So I go to ingredients and I want it to be organic whey protein concentrate, right? So that's like really important to me. Or when I go to the pea protein that's here, they have some vegan options here. It is organic yellow pea isolate, right? So I really look for just one ingredient and I try to make them organic whenever I can. Here's another product that I like, and it comes from grass-fed cattle. This is a new product that's on the market that I haven't tried yet, but I do like this woman and her, I follow her ranch because that's what I do in my free time is follow ranchers. So she's a dairy farmer, but she just started protein powder. And again, it's got like a nice mix of ingredients. There is a stevia or monk fruit, I think, in this one, which some of you might be into that and some of you may not. I haven't tried this yet, but I just found this gal. This is a plant-based bar that some people are trying. Again, all real ingredients. And here's 2 more bars. This one has whey protein in it. So you want a bar that has at least 20 grams of protein, if not 30, just to make the most of it. This bar is all the rage these days. Has anyone tried this bar yet? The David bar. This is like the popular bar at the moment. I haven't tried it yet, but the ingredients, don't look terrible. And then here's 2 more protein powders. And the reason I sent these, I actually think they might be a little bit, they've got a little bit like more fake sugar than I like, but they come in travel packets, which many people like for on the go, like to just have something if you travel or in the car. So there's 2 brands here that I can share with you that come in travel packets. A lot of you and people have gotten into collagen peptides, which is great. This is not the one. I meant to just share the basic collagen one, but collagen's great. Collagen is not a complete protein though. So collagen can be added to a protein powder for more of the benefits that are coming from those amino acids, but collagen does not give you everything you need. So for those of you who are using collagen peptides as your protein powder, it's not enough. Here's my favorite fiber supplement. It's called Fiberment, and I just put a scoop of this in my smoothie every morning. And here's another powerful prebiotic called inulin. I'll put this in the recommendations. I would start very slowly, like an eighth of a teaspoon to start. Some of this might cause a little bit of gas in some of you. So you want to go real low and slow as you build up to a teaspoon. But this is the almighty prebiotic. This is what will help grow all the healthy bugs in your gut. Some of you asked about creatine. I think creatine is a fabulous supplement for both brain health and muscle health. The recommendation is 3 to 5 grams with a carb. So if you're taking creatine supplement with just protein and water, you're not actually getting the benefits of it. You need to eat it with a carbohydrate. So you want to put fruit or something in the smoothie or juice, or just some people mix it in with yogurt, or drink it in a glass of water with a carbohydrate meal. And then what's on this link? Oh, and then psyllium. Good old psyllium is very powerful. You really got to chug it because it turns into like that gel. But psyllium husk is a powerful detoxifier and a wonderful form of fiber. And again, just taken slowly, but so you want to build up to maybe a teaspoon. And many people take this once in the morning and once at night to add to their grams of protein. I'm sorry, grams of fiber. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I can share it again if we need to when I have a handful of like meals and snack ideas and meals on the go. So I've got a handful of those ideas here if the conversation goes there. But I'm going to stop sharing for now and open to questions. I'm sure that sparked a bunch of questions for many of you. Oh, and I see some in the chat. So let me see if I can answer some of those. But you let me know, please unmute yourself and let me know how I can help. Let me see. What are the questions here? I use Body Health Perfect Aminos. We are making fiber sexy now. Yes, please. Is Perfect Aminos those pills? Is that what those are? I think I've tried those. The pills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're hard to swallow, but yeah, they don't taste good, but that's what I started taking. Yeah.
So I
They're
think
like,
it's fine, but I think it's like 6 pills are like only 5 grams of protein. So, and again, this kind of goes to those original questions of like, is it working for you? For me, when I tried it, at first I was like, oh, sweet, this is awesome. And then I was like, oh, it's like a lot of pills for just 5 grams. So I ended up just like going back to my powders, my powder smoothie, as well as just eating food. But if you want it for just a little boost of 5 grams here, 5 grams there, I think it's fine because it is basically a protein powder in a pill. So I think it's fine. And then his name is Sachin Panda, I think it's Satchin. He wrote a book called The Circadian something. And yeah, I mean, he gets plenty of press and respect, but he is like the holy grail of the fasting world that for some reason, I think no one talks about it because he was just doing a 12-hour fast. Oh, okay. And Danielle, you've tried the David bars and they're pretty tasty.
Yeah, I've only tried a couple colors. I mean flavors, but they're surprisingly good. Yeah,
Okay.
my 5-year-old kids will eat them, so that maybe tells you something. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't know if that's really good or really not good.
yeah, I'm not
Maybe they're
sure,
too
but
sweet. But yes, they are all the rage. And I've looked at them and overall their ingredients seem fine. There's one ingredient in there that's like one of their fats that I'm like curious about. So I have told clients to just be careful if it's noticing their digestive tract, I think I'll even just share this just so you guys can see what we all need to do. So in the David bars, which again, if you haven't gotten an ad for them, me just talking about this has probably ruined all your cookies. So now you're all gonna see it in your ads everywhere. But if you look at their ingredients, can you guys see this? Yeah, just making sure. So it's got this modified plant fat, it's called. Do you see that here? Modified plant fat, EPG. So my team at my other job, we Googled and kind of researched this a little bit and tried to find more on it. And we couldn't exactly find out what it means, which is a little bit of a red flag. But my concern, and this is me just being jaded because I am as a dietitian, do you guys remember Olestra from like the 90s? Where like you ate fats, like you could eat Doritos and be skinny, but then you had like terrible bowels, right? So I'm just a little concerned that maybe digestively it's going to go down hard. I don't know for sure. So I would just keep an eye on, again, when you eat it, you can say to yourself, I am eating this as a high protein, clean snack. That's exactly what my body needs. But then if you're like noticing bloated or your bowels are a little weird, then remember that you had that David bar. It could be nothing. That's just me being a little potentially paranoid. Okay, does anyone have any questions that are coming up? Oh, I see here. Are you familiar with Kachava? I've seen the ad on Instagram. Let's see, but I can look it up for you. It's hard for me to keep up with all the products since there's just so many products on the market. Let's see here. So let me reshare my screen just so you guys can see the logic that goes in my head when I do this. And again, the first thing you always want to look at is the ingredients, not the nutrition label. Okay, so it's basically, that's just a bunch of different plants, but they're all whole and real, an omega, and fiber blend. Yes. So at a super high level, this looks like a plant protein with a multivitamin and mineral in it, right? I don't think, the way these products sometimes are marketed is like they're going to solve all your problems. I don't personally think that it's going to do that, but it could be a great form of protein. So then when you look at, wait, it was in that same window. When you look at the grams of protein, yeah, there's 25 grams in one, I'm assuming, in 2 scoops. Okay. And then there is, what's the sugar that's used? Total sugar, 7 grams. And the sugar is coming from, let's see. The sugar is coming from, I can't even tell where the sugar is coming from. I'm trying to see if I could catch it quickly. So
maybe a higher with a blueberry, raspberry.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe it's all these different berries. I feel like I'm sure there's some sort of more blatant sweetener in here, but maybe not. The only thing I would say is guar gum, xanthan gum, inulin, right? Which I recommended inulin. Some of these things can really impact the gut. So just be careful. Some people can get really bloated on this stuff. It's not that any of those are necessarily bad. They're actually all good. But sometimes when you're putting so many different things in one pot, you don't know what's causing some of the gut issues. So I would just note that. But I don't even see an added, maybe it is just the berries. That's cool. The superfruit blend. So maybe that is the sweetener. That's cool that there's no added sweetener, which is great. And then again, there's some fun research around these adaptogens. So maybe that's doing something. I love that they're prioritizing organic products too. I have a friend who loves it. I just haven't tried it yet. Anything on anyone's mind?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original question that you read, she talked about, does it matter if she eats before her workout or not?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the answer is that just see how you feel, which is maybe what you're saying. But is there any other advice around that?
That's right. Good. Thanks. I meant to come back to that and I forgot. So I say this with sincere respect, but I don't think any of us are like elite athletes. Maybe we are. Maybe I shouldn't be so bold. But like, I don't think any of us are like training for an Olympic level, like ultra marathons, whatever it is, and masters, whatever. But if someone's competing at that level of sport and getting that many hours that they need to get in of working out, Then meal timing pre and post workout is very important. But for those of us who are just trying to get a workout in every day and make the most of that to feel our best, I really follow the rule of whatever works for you is the right answer. So there are some people who have to eat a meal before they work out. There are some people who can't eat a meal before they work out. But what I will say is pay attention, right? So I used to be someone who always needed to work out on an empty stomach. And then at some point in my life, when I started paying attention to myself, halfway through a workout, I was like, I'm like kind of tired and a little dizzy. Like, huh, maybe I should eat before I work out. And then I started eating before I worked out, and I was like, oh, that's totally different. But again, it really screwed up my schedule because then I had to make food and eat the food and digest the food. So like everything in my whole schedule had to be changed because I had to work out. But I had to acknowledge the fact that I was getting tired and dizzy in the middle of workouts, and that probably wasn't so pleasant. The 25-year-old Jae would have just powered through, but the 45-year-old Jae is like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. So I think it's really important for you all to pay attention. But with regards to like having to have protein within 30 minutes of working out to optimize your muscle mass, I think you guys should eat within a 12-hour window, ideally 3 meals a day, 3 balanced meals a day, and see how that's going. And then if you need adjustments, you should adjust from there. We didn't get into this that much, but like I'm not a huge lover of snacks because I think that snacks are people who don't eat enough at their meal. So when I work with clients, my kind of foundational prescription is eat in a 12-hour window, eat 3 meals a day, and eat and see how that goes. And I can send this to you in a actually this deck is so ugly, but I'm happy to share it. But I do like the plate method when I talk about how to build your plate, right? So 30 to 50% vegetables, about 30% protein, and about 25% starch. And like that's what your plate should look like. And then see how you feel from there. Elaine.
Yeah, my question is related to your prescription of foods for hormonal health. That's one of the reasons why I'm using BFR and going through this experiment is to make a big impact on the hormonal balance. But I also know that nutrition and diet can do that. Would you be able to speak on that? I know it's a big topic, so I also wonder if we can bring you back and maybe do another thing with you around hormonal health. But
Totally happy to
any
come back.
tips
But I
for
got to tell you, it's actually not that complicated. So as much as I love that perimenopause and menopause are having its moment right now, I am a little troubled by like, I feel like they're giving perimenopausal and menopausal women like a new eating disorder. They're making us like stress out about something that maybe we don't, maybe we could not stress out about food, like maybe. So it actually is protein and fiber. Eat enough protein, eat enough fiber. If you eat enough protein and eat enough fiber, you are not going to have the appetite for the junk. There's just no room. Like you literally can't fit in a day the processed foods and the processed sugars. But and I should say heart healthy fats. We didn't get into that today, but if you get the recommendation of protein about 0.6 to 0.7 grams per protein per pound of body weight per day, which is a job, just FYI, if you haven't started yet, it's no joke. And you get 25 grams of fiber in a day, a job, like full, you will be full. And you eat heart healthy fats, meaning olives, nuts, seeds, avocados. There's only so much chocolate, fried food, cake, bread, whatever, chips that you can eat. Like you'll be full and your hormones will thrive because that's what they need. They need those three things. But we can absolutely go into more of the nuance, but I do think that sometimes people are making this whole hormone thing more complicated than they need to. And that kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I feel like we all deserve a break of having things a little simpler.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear more about maybe another time. Like I've heard around like cycling with our like
Mm.
as so what I've tried and practiced is like some weeks I am actually heavier on the protein and some weeks I can actually go more on the carbs.
Mhm.
That would not necessarily maybe work then if I'm
Yep.
so to talk to you about how
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
our cycles.
And
And
we
then when
can
we
break
don't have
it.
our cycles, does it change or
That's
is
right.
it always
Yeah.
the same? Yeah.
So I am simple. I am simple. So I while I know that that's a big story out there, like seed cycling and macro cycling and even workout cycling per week, um, it just feels very complicated to me. And the trade-off doesn't feel worth it for me personally, or most of the people I've experimented with it. Some people, it's die hard, they love it, right? It gives them structure. They notice the different benefits. They feel that significantly different week by week in their cycle, that adjusting their food and their exercise dramatically helps them. And so I think that can be a value, but I'm not convinced that everyone needs to do that. But if it's working, I think that would be a very cool discussion, because if some of the group has tried it, I think we could brainstorm a bit on how to like optimize that. When I say optimize, I mean like how to make it work as easy as possible. And to your point, like what to give up a little bit. If it's a higher protein week, what to give up on, and if it's a higher carb week, what else, what do we trade off with? Because we wouldn't probably want to adjust the macros too much, but it'd be interesting to see if that can make an impact.
I have a question. Jay, first of all, thank you. This is awesome.
My pleasure.
Information. And I'm a Kachava. I'm going back to the shakes because it's kind of a daily thing, right? So anything you do daily and consistently, just like to really kind of double, triple check that. And I like it, but I've also, I see that you're a big whey fan. And I've heard too that plant-based proteins and whey could have a different, like maybe a speed of digestion where you're getting the benefits. But can you talk to me or us a little bit about the whey topic?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So first of all, there is, if you feel strongly about plants, or plant-based or vegan, please stay that course. I mean, I started the beginning by telling you I'm a cattle rancher, so I'm obviously pro animals, but again, I'm pro organic meat that was raised properly. Not all meat is equal. I also am all for plants. Love plants, right? Because I love fiber. I just don't totally think you need to only eat plants personally based on the research I've done. But if you feel strongly about being a plant-based eater. So my love of whey goes back kind of to Elaine's point. Simple and easy is my way. I just like cannot deal with like too many things to complicate things. So whey is special for its branched chain amino acids. And branched chain amino acids, there's probably more research on that than anything in the field of protein. It is the most powerful amino acids to impact muscle building and muscle recovery. So the research is kind of very clear on that. And whey protein is a perfect source of it. And because animal protein, so when you eat an animal protein, it goes in your mouth, it goes to your stomach, boom, it's in your bloodstream very quickly. It's like, because there's nothing to it. It's just protein, right? Same with a chicken breast. You eat a chicken breast, it's working its magic very quickly. If you eat beans, right, your mouth has to start to break down the fiber, then your stomach acid has to break down the fiber, then more enzyme, then your pancreas has to get involved, then it has to go to your liver, then the liver's got to do like so many different processes to break down all the different things of the fiber, and then the protein from the beans will eventually hit your bloodstream. It's just a lot of work for the body. Again, not bad. Beans are the most powerful food out there. I love beans, but if you're eating a plant-based fiber, it's just more effort for the body. And similar to cassava, which it's great that Jay gave the feedback and Elaine gave the feedback that they love the taste and it's great on their body. But I usually when I try those protein powders that have like too many things in it, my body's usually like, like I just so like I just keep things real clean and simple. So I use a whey protein that's made of one ingredient. I use water, I add berries, I put collagen and creatine in there and fiber powder. So I put all those powders I kind of mentioned in there. Boom, done. So if you're getting a plant-based protein powder, then they have structured it so that there are branched chain amino acids in there and there's all the amino acids that you need. So I think at the end of the day, you're probably getting everything you need in the protein powders, whether it's plant or animal. But again, make sure that you personally are digesting it well.
Perfect. Wow.
And you should notice a difference. So if you guys are eating fairly clean, fairly well, and then you add a protein shake to your diet, so you're adding 1 more 30 grams of protein in a day and doing these workouts, within a month, you should be like, ooh, I'm feeling, look, there's muscle there. Like you should be noticing some more strength in your day, especially with given the BFR kind of gives that added punch. So some of you might be using a protein powder of whatever sort, and you're not feeling that way, then we need to kind of adjust maybe the product or the kind of mix of your smoothie. Like I look at my smoothie as medicine, right? And I really like all the different nutrients I put in there. It's like a prescription, like every single thing should have some power to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great explanation. One added question on that. So you mentioned in the beginning about amino acids. When would you recommend to someone to take an amino acid supplement, or do you not? It's just try to get it into your shake protein.
So you mean like those perfect aminos? Is that what you're talking about? I think it's just you need to start counting the grams, right? So I can usually get it works out to be that most people need about 100 grams of protein, like 90 to 100. So most meals need to be about 30 grams of protein-ish. Everyone's a little different. So it comes to start experimenting with like, can you get that with meals? So the question is, can you get that with meals and or a shake? And are you achieving your goals? So some of you are trying to lose weight. So like, are you losing weight? Some of you are trying to build muscle. Are you building muscle? So let's just say you're eating 3 meals a day and a shake, okay? Because the thought of eating a 5-ounce chicken breast feels really gross. So you're really only eating like a 3-ounce chicken breast. So that's only 21 grams. Or like the thought of eating 4 eggs at a time feels gross. So you're only really eating 2 eggs at a time. So that's only 14 grams. See why you need to, at the beginning, you might need to log your food for a little bit to know how many grams you're eating. So say you're eating 3 meals a day and a shake and you're gaining weight. Well, then that's not working. So then the question is, what do you do? So maybe you figure it out so you have 2 meals a day and a shake, and you're adjusting your fiber and your protein so that that's working, and you still aren't losing weight. So then it's like, maybe I need to decrease the portion size of all 3 of these things a little bit so that I'm losing some weight. Then perfect aminos can maybe come in handy because there's no calories. So maybe you have 5 grams of that in the morning and 5 grams of that at night so that you don't have to have a little bit of food or shake. Everything else could become a little bit smaller. And you don't find it annoying. I was like, this was just too many pills to take at a time. Like I just couldn't do it. But some people, it's no problem. So I think it's just really gauging yourself and what feels like a right thing. But where it comes in handy is to save you the calories.
So that kind of goes. So an amino acid, even though it doesn't have calories, is essentially the same as protein for your body in terms of?
It does have some calories because it has 5 grams of protein, but it's like
Okay.
20, it's like
Okay.
it's like 20 calories, right? Because 1
Okay.
gram 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, so it's
Okay.
like 20 calories. So it's not as
Okay.
prominent as if you were to eat it.
Got it.
And again,
Makes
when
sense.
you eat it, you're eating it with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of whatever. So like the calories kind of add up. Most of us aren't just eating, hopefully, like just skinless chicken breast, with like a little bit of, so hopefully, so that's just kind of an easy way to get maybe 5 to 10 grams of protein, and maybe it could help adjust your body composition goals. And even psychosomatically, maybe it just like makes you feel like you're doing something that's an impact. And I think that's fine too.
I have a question about the fiber.
Coach Elaine's a pill popper. She loves it. So there you go. So we all got to find our right mix. Okay, sorry, I interrupted someone.
No, that's okay. This probably falls under the category of what works for your body, but I'm someone who my entire life has tended towards loose stool, like just even when I'm eating healthy and clean. So I wonder about like upping fiber intake.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Okay, so I'm probably going to say what you don't think I'm going to say, but like fiber is your medicine. So if you are running through loose stools, right, what you need is what's called soluble fiber. So soluble fiber is like oatmeal is a great example of that. And if you picture like a half-eaten bowl of oatmeal in the kitchen sink, right, and it's like turns into that like sludge, that's like slowly goes through your gut. And that's exactly what someone with
Binding
loose
agent.
bowels.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly what someone with loose stools needs. If you're someone who goes towards constipation, you would want something like wheat bran, right? Because wheat bran is like Drano through a pipe and will help push it through. So beans are your best friend. Can you eat beans right at this moment in time? Okay, so if you were my one-on-one client, I would have you start eating half a cup of beans a day, like medicine, and I would probably have you get to 1 cup or even 2 cups a day and see how you do. You've got to go slow them, they are the magical.
My husband might not think that's medicine.
I was going to say, you got to go slow to see how your body reacts. And then there's a whole other layer there. If you have always been tended towards loose stools, right, that could be a form of what's called SIBO or something else. So there could be something else in there that would need a deeper dive. But there's a whole world on this. If you Google the bean protocol, where they use beans as like medicine for all, and I deeply believe in it. Beans get a bad rap.
Cool, thanks.
How many people want Jae back again?
That would have been awkward if no one raised their hand.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, of course.
Real quick, because we're talking about protein, and I was vegetarian for a while, and once I started going back to eating quote unquote meat, like I had to take HCl. I didn't have to. I tried taking HCl and digestive enzymes. Yeah, I know this could be again, let's bring you back and let's talk about this. That's what I also wanted to ask you to talk about a little bit is how if you think about recommending those things, or do you, and how to use them in order to digest the protein or even digest the amount of fiber, not fiber, but carbs.
Yeah.
Support for that.
So I will tell you, I'll be so blunt with you all. I have become the most snobby of dietitians or people on all levels because I know the best gut dietitian ever. And it's not me. She is the smartest human being I have ever come across with the gut. And she is just magic. So through her, though, it's like once you know, you can't go back, right? So like if you think that there's a lot of media around perimenopause right now, or even nutrition, oh my gosh, the gut media out there is almost all lies. It's almost all lies. People don't even know what they're saying. So it's a really complex topic, right? And so what usually involved is testing And it's not just, there could be stool testing, there could be breath testing, like, Jay, you may need to do a breath test to determine how your small bowel is doing, because that might be part of what's going on with you. And then we might need to manage all of those things. So some things, like I like to bring people to just like a foundational level of eating 3 meals a day, making sure that they're getting all the nutrients they need. So protein, fiber, healthy fats, water, fermented foods, right? So both probiotics and prebiotics. So I try to build people up to that kind of foundational place. And then if they're still telling me, I'm running to the bathroom 14 times a day, I'm 3 months pregnant all the time because I'm so bloated. I'm like standing in the corner passing gas so no one hears me. I'm getting heartburn. Every time I eat X food, I have a terrible digestive issue, which is so common. I usually pass them on to my colleague. So Ashley, I haven't introduced you to her because she's like a whole other level of a human being. She's lovely, but she's almost, I did a joint call with her and a client, and my client asked if she was a robot. Because she just was like, she busts out like bacteria. I mean, the way she speaks, you're just like, not everyone can understand what you're saying, dear. You have to turn this into English. So it's a little bit of a complex situation, but after I build people to a really solid foundation place, if they're still having GI symptoms, then I pass people on to her, because feeling bloated every day, passing gas. I mean, we all pass gas all the time, but like passing excessive gas all the day, having more than 3 bowel movements in a day is not normal. And also, if you are not having a bowel movement every day, that is not normal. There are so many women who are like, oh, I have a bowel movement once a week. That is like absolutely not okay. So all those things are not normal, and no one likes to talk about poop, but like it's very important. So I was just thinking about this with my dogs. I just went on a walk with all 3 of them. And when they go, I look at all their poops, right? And I'm like, God, I wish I could do this. Like, I wish this was just normal. I wish we could just do this, but it's totally inappropriate to talk about in our culture. So we can have a conversation about kind of like gut health 101, but then after that, I would probably refer you to her, or Ashley, I can introduce you and see if she might, I don't know how many kind of group talks she does, but we could think about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to be respectful of time, but obviously, Jay, this was awesome. I mean, you can tell by all the questions that everyone, it's super on the mark of what people want to learn, and it is so complicated. To your point, so a couple things. I'd love for you to send a follow-up email to the group, which we can coordinate with the some of the links to the or list of the recommendations. Also, Jay does do one-on-one if anyone really feels like they want to go deeper with Jay. And then would love to have Jay back in a couple months, a few months. And if you guys have particular questions you want to explore on the next call. I know I kind of pigeonholed Jay a little bit on this call because I said so many questions I'm getting about fasting and protein and the workouts. So we kind of leaned into that, but I know there's other things to talk about as well. So
I told Ashley, like anytime I try to prepare for a topic of nutrition and I do all this work for a PowerPoint, which you all know I can't stand, and then everyone just asks questions that are almost always not related to like whatever I tried to do, like, food and skin or food and this. And everyone's like, tell me about protein, talk to me about fasting. How do I drink alcohol? Like there's just kind of things that you all want to know. So let's please keep your questions coming so I can tailor it to be exactly what you guys are looking for. And so, okay, yes, Bridget, do you guys want my like ugly PowerPoint? I'm happy to share it. Okay.
yeah,
So I'll put the links that I shared into the PowerPoint.
Perfect.
And then I will include my email address, and just send me a note and I can share with you more. Again, my private practice is really simple. I just charge by the hour. So we can just come up with a system that way to work together.
Jay, are you doing Celly Strength? Are you doing BFR?
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
cool.
yes. I'm doing that too, which I love. I just can't join the lives because I'm in Central Time, so my life has kind of started by the time you guys are getting your workouts in. But I'll do my favorite. Oh, and catch you know what? Before I will include her link in the email. Let me just talk to her before I share her with you. Let me just reach out to my gut dietitian first before I share her information, but I'll include her link. I'm sure she'll say no problem, but let me just ask her. But yes, I am with you guys in spirits and loving the workouts. And I told this to Ashley, but I now that I live in Texas and it's affordable, life is affordable here, I can get monthly massages. And the massage therapist, about a month or two into me doing workouts, she was like, "You are like stronger. Like
Yeah.
your body feels different." I was like, "Oh my God." So yes, I'm loving the workouts. It's really fun.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Cool.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks
Thank you
to
so much, Jay.
Bye.
Thanks for your time. Yeah, and
thank
thanks for
you.
the great group. And perfect. Well, looking forward to the follow-up, and we'll definitely be having you back, Jay. So thanks again.
Okay, take
Have a
care.
great
Bye-bye.
day.
Bye.